Well, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, whatever your current life situation is. Hello, YouTube. This is Jeffrey Kite back again with another episode of Kite's Curiosities. Today is a travel destination and historic site video brought to you by Sojourney Travel. That's right, folks. Sojourney Travel by Carla Parker Kite. That is my wife. She is a professional travel advisor and can be your personal travel advisor to anywhere in the world that you want to go. Whether it be on a cruise, all-inclusive resort, Disney World, whatever you want. Or if you just want to do a nice little staycation, like I am going to show you guys today in this video, something local. She can arrange it here in the state of Georgia or wherever. I'll just reach out and contact her at that telephone number, 770-356-4245, or just send her an email at carla.parker-kite@sojourneytravel.com. Or contact her via that website right there, www.sojourneytravel.com/Carla. Suitcases, sightseeing, so journey with us, Sojourney Travel. So today I am here in a little place in Paulding County, Georgia, located just off of Mount Tabor Church Road. And it is the site of the Battle of Pickett's Mill. I'm not sure if it's backwards on y'all's view or not. Hopefully it's not, and y'all can read that. Battle of Pickett's Mill. This is one of the very few battle sites that the Confederates were victorious in. As the Union troops were coming down from Tennessee and pushing on into Georgia and trying to make those deeper cuts into the South, they came into this area, Paulding County, and they were at the Battle of New Hope Church. That was a tough area. They had to fight through and stuff. They fought a lot, got a lot of resistance, and were pushed back, and Confederates won there. I'll be doing a video there at that place later on this summer. But they got pushed back, and then they regrouped and decided, well, we're going to come around this this right northeast part of where they were. I think it was kind of the northeast corner of where the Confederates were, and try to push back up and drive the Confederates back. But what happened was they started blundering and started flip-flopping, and it just didn't work out, and they found themselves in this deep ravine, deep wooded ravine, and they got pinned down, and then Confederates defeated them in that ravine. A lot of lives were lost. They were trapped. Tough times for the Union Army at that time. This battle, it lasted about 5 hours, and it occurred on May the 25th, 1864. So 161 years ago, not to the date, but 161 years ago, which was probably a week ago, I guess. So let's go on and let's explore, and let's see what we can find out and learn today as we do this Georgia history lesson. As I walk up to the check-in point, I was offered a shuttle, but I'm like, no, I'd rather walk and just kind of experience what it was like maybe for the soldiers. The area has not changed much. Obviously this paved road was not here, but look in the woods. That's what they walked through. That's what they traveled through and pushed up the hills through and on back around, and all in this terrain. That's why it was a little bit easier for the Confederates. They fought, the Confederates' fighting style was known as a guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla meaning not like gorilla like the primate, but gorilla, G-U, is how you begin it. And what that means is it's you hide, you fire on your enemy, and you retreat. Then you go engage your enemy, fire on them, and then retreat and hide and duck and dive. And as you can see, there are lots of places that you can hide and duck down, cover yourself up, fire on your enemy, and then fall back. And that's partly what made the Confederates so successful at Battle of Pickett's Mill, New Hope Church, and things like that, until just the sheer overwhelming numbers of the Union Army finally overtook them and began that Atlanta campaign. All right, this is a Union signalman, and what he would do, he would signal to the soldiers fighting out different commands with this signal. All right, go ahead, sir.
I'm to the ready. I'm signaling for attention. When I signal for attention, the other party would likewise signal that they see me, so they would wave their flag back and forth like this. I would come to the ready. They would put their flag down, and I would go into the message. 3 2s, that's federal. 3 1s, that's attack. And then this, in the front, this is 3, that's end of message. I bring my flag down, and then they would signal likewise, usually message received and understood, which is a series of triplet and 2 1s. And then I would come to the ready again. I would signal for attention, and I have a signalman now. Look on the other side. Yes, he's waving his flag back and forth. I would come to the ready. I would send my message to him. 2 2 2. Pause. 1 1 1. Pause. Federals attack. 3s. End of message. And he would come to the ready after he decoded it, and he would wave attention to me. I see him waving for attention. He would come to the ready, and he would send 1 1 pause, 1 1 pause, 1 1 pause, and then a 3 in front. And what he just sent me was message received and understood.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing.
You're very welcome.
So this is what a Civil War field surgeon would look like. Many of them on the Union side were female and Confederate side, and so this is what their garments would be like. So you tell us some any more stories about that you have?
Well, sometimes, Mary Walker, who was the more famous one, she was the first woman to receive the Congressional Medal of Honor. She was frequently thrown in jail for wearing pants.
Now, some of y'all would wear pants.
Yes.
Okay.
There was the Zouaves and some of the Vividandiers that would help on the fields. And they wear pants with a longer coat.
Okay.
And that's what Mary Walker would wear. And she was, like I said, one of the first that we've actually have documentation on. Oriana Russell Moon Andrews is a Confederate nurse, but we don't have the documents on that to prove. The only woman, and she received a captain of the artillery, Sally Tompkins. She actually ran a hospital in Richmond, and the hospitals were run by the Confederacy then. So she went to Jeff Davis and asked permission, and he made her a captain of the artillery that she never was on a gun. But she ran a very good hospital, had a very good outcome with her patients, so she wanted to continue to do that, to take care of the wounded during the Civil War. What we have around us are a collection of my instruments that I've collected over the last 30 plus years. There's only maybe 7 items that are reproductions. The rest are all originals
Fantastic.
of the period.
Fantastic. I'm gonna take a closer look at these guys here in a second. But thank you for your stories and your information. Now, you mentioned Miss Moon.
Yes.
Now, I know about a Lottie Moon who was a missionary.
Right.
So is this any relation?
She is her older sister.
Wow.
And what Lottie Moon went to China and was one of the first women to proclaim Christ to the Chinese, and she died on Christmas Eve coming back because she'd gotten so ill. And then another unique story about the Moons is that her mother and Jenny, her younger sister, with the Emancipation Proclamation, President Lincoln made it also illegal for anything to come to the Confederate States. That included medication. So women or children, they would take like a valise, which is like a leather tote bag, and they would hollow out the bottom of it, and they would put a false bottom in it, and they would go up north and they would purchase morphine, because morphine had to be imported, and laudanum. And so Jenny and her mother would go up and bring back medication for the Confederacy, and as soon as they got back, they would then turn it over to the Confederate surgeons to let them administer it to the men who had been wounded to help alleviate their pain.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's just to keep paws off, because everybody wants to touch everything.
And this is a surgeon's kit,
This
correct?
is an amputation, original.
In a field surgeon's kit at that, I know, because of the rectangular and it's the smaller, smaller
and it
version.
also has a trephine for boring holes in the head. That's this piece. With this would have a T-piece like here. And if you had a severe headache or a head wound, they would drill a hole to relieve the pressure.
Can only imagine. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That's a bleeding kit, because back then if you turned red with a fever, they thought you had too much blood, so they believed in a pale porcelain look, so they would bleed off until you turned pale or passed out.
And whatever they dug out of you,
These are bullets.
Put in a little pan.
Yeah, this is a grape shot. This is a canister round. This is part of a cannonball. You can kind of see the curve on it.
Yeah.
That's a fragment. If you got hit by any one of these three, there's an 80% chance of fatality.
Imagine.
And these are the bullets, 58 caliber. This one obviously hit something hard, like a piece of wood or a tree, and it mushrooms out.
Again, thank you so much. Here's another field kit, as you can see here.
Look, but don't touch, please. Look, but don't touch.
Yep, no touching stone.
See it with your eyes.
That's a big knife.
Look with the eyes.
Yeah, that's a bone saw.
Don't touch the weights, because you leave oils on them and it changes.
Those are teeth that have been extracted.
Wow. Let me see.
When you touch the weights, you leave oils on them, and then it turns the scales off. That's why you don't touch it. Any questions?
Not that or not.
Excuse me. This is a bullet identification guide. I have a few dropped rounds in my collection. Personal collection of just random things that I've picked up over the years. These bullets are very, very heavy. If you ever get a chance to hold a drop bullet or a fired bullet from the Civil War, Feel how heavy that is, and then imagine getting struck by it at 5,000 feet per second. I mean, it's going to do some damage. These are the little claws that they would use to wipe their hands and use gauze, packing gauze for injured soldiers. Excuse me. Now this is something I found very interesting. This is what a daily ration would be for a basic Civil War field soldier. You get a cup. I think that's about a cup of corn and a piece of fat back. And that's what they would give them to sustain them for a whole day of fighting.
Really?
It sounds like you might have a good result.
I saw on Instagram the other day.
You copy any of those? I've heard of those, but
And then these are scales that they would use to weigh the pills after they cut them,
yeah, that's right.
roll them, and then weigh them to get the right milligram for pain relief or whatever it is they were being treated for. Imagine having your bones cut on one of these instruments here. Just the horrors they went through to defend our nation, fight for states' rights, make their causes known. Yes, slavery was part of the Civil War conflict and battle, but it was more than just that.
What are these corn kernels? 3-day rations. 3-day rations.
Imagine having your teeth pulled, your mouth cut on and worked on with these instruments here.
No, I've loving it so much. I'm going to actually do it.
Well, if they gave you a choice, they could grind it up, dip it into cocoa, they could fry it on some of the canteen.
Yeah, well, and I think they were.
You don't want to do it, you grind that.
up in there north of Pickett.
Because most of the time when they got bad, yeah. And then the biggest puzzle film is
That's right. He's like, good, take it over. Get the fat, caramelized.
That's so true. Yeah, people would eat them. And they're sick.
dysentery where you have diarrhea, months. And the medication they gave me was really bad, which was a mercury based.
And so that's the thing, like even when
So they literally, if you weren't going, they give you
Again, just having to have an arm, a leg, a foot, a hand have to be sawed off
right, they found it
out in the field with one of these crude instruments. It just had to be excruciating.
you look at things, they're not protected. Everything you look at your eyes on.
I know.
They're far more crucial than anyone ever needs.
Any questions? Explain which one?
I didn't realize that.
Okay. This is more like these are measuring cups.
During the chaos of battle and blood,
This is also
records went wherever the colors went. There also be colors, magnets for it.
The old phrase, don't have a dog in the fight.
Here at the Pickett's Mill Battlefield Historic Site sits this old, well, semi-original cabin. This is the Prather cabin. Now the Prather family, they lived out in this area of Paulding County called Cedar Crest. And for those of you who are watching who are from Paulding County or in Dallas, Georgia, this cabin right here, this one right here, sat directly across the street from Shelton Elementary School. So if you can imagine, before all the progress in that area built up, this cabin was sitting right across the street from that school. This cabin was moved here, gosh, I want to say, from what I read, I think early 2000s, around 2002. And it was not original to this site, but this is a cabin typical of what residents in this area lived in. So come on, let's take a look inside.
Now, when you go see the ballot, I will tell you that where the Confederate line is going to be up in that higher area, that is the Rogers home site. They don't want the birds.
The kids are very excited about the cannon, so that's why we're rushing
Oh
on.
yes, the cannon is always fun.
Yeah.
Now, if you see Santa Claus on the Federal line, that's my husband.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
And then my son is corporal, so he's the skinny one, and then the little one is...
That's a turnkey you would use to tighten up the ropes on this bed.
I love that. Thank you.
So now I'm going to go upstairs up this ladder. This is where,
Don't go all the way so you can look.
okay, This is where the kids slept. Kids 2 and older would sleep up here. 2 and older would come up here. And this would be their area.
Where what? No. Yeah, I live on the other side of Atlanta. Yeah.
And if you are a baby or a 2-year-old, younger than 2, you get to sleep by mom and daddy. Now here is an old smokehouse. This is where you would smoke all your meats and stuff. Let's see if I can get a little shot on the inside of it.
This one's gonna be a hard one.
It's locked, you can't get in it. Oh, see if I can go up top here. You would hang your meat on this rail right here in sacks. And you'd build you a nice little fire using that wood and get all that smoke and heat and cure. It'd come up on that beam and smoke your meat.
Oh, I can't even get close to it.
Now this structure is what's called a corn crib. And you'd put your corn in here to keep it dry. You don't want wet corn because your corn gets wet. Now it'll start to mold. And of course, what would a frontier Civil War era cabin be without an outhouse? And this is where you would go and, do your business. You'd pee and poop on a little stoop that's inside there, and it'd go down in a little hole in the ground, and you might have to clean it out every once in a while. Very thankful for indoor plumbing today. Though Georgia is not really known as a grape producing state, grapes still can be grown and produced here. And this is a reconstruction of what an old grape arbor would be like. And to be quite honest, I mean, there's people in this state still that build these arbors and grow them some grapes on it. This is typically what a Civil War soldier's tent would look like. And if you remember from my Andersonville video, these are called shebangs. When people talk about, you did this, the whole shebang, this is where that term comes from. You would put everything you had in your little area in your shebang. Coming back from the cabin, I wanted to share this. I want to share this with y'all. This road you see right here, this is an original road. This isn't something that was just mocked up. Road has been here since this area's here. This is the old Pickett's Mill Road. The same road that soldiers marched on. The same road that these units converged on, or part of it area and stuff. The northern Union soldiers, they came from a different area and came in on a different side, but this is the old road. This is the very road, old Pickett's Mill Road. And to walk down an actual piece of history that's still with us, that so much history took place in, to me anyway, it's pretty exciting and just kind of breathtaking. Like, what kind of stories, if this road could talk, what stories would it tell? Who traveled this same road? Who walked the same path 161 years ago that I'm walking now? It's pretty remarkable. Now, the cabin that you guys just saw, as I said earlier, that was the Prather cabin. The Prather cabin was a family cabin that was owned by the Prather family that lives in the Cedar Crest area of Paulding County, and that cabin was moved here. Now, there was a cabin that was here called the Rogers house, the Rogers cabin, where the Rogers family had, that was right behind the trench that we're about to go look and see where the actual battle took place. And the old Rogers cabin is the site where Confederate sharpshooters roosted up in the second story of that cabin. It's kind of rare that you would have a two-story cabin, functional two-story cabin, with windows and everything like that. So the Rogers cabin was kind of an anomaly. It's no longer here. It's been torn down. I don't know if, the Union soldiers came back and tore it down or what, because they were embarrassed here at this battle. Thought they were just going to sweep in, handle business, and push on down to Marietta and Atlanta, and that didn't work out. They had to work a little harder, and they lost a lot of men on May 24th, 1864. But the Rogers cabin is where they had the sharpshooters that would poke out the windows of that cabin and pick off some of the Union soldiers that were down in that latrine, that were not latrine, but in that trench, that were trapped and couldn't get out. All right, so I'm gonna have to pause the video right here and load the rest of the footage up later. We're working on, it is midnight Monday morning. So, and all what you just saw at the historic site occurred on Saturday. So, having a lot of trouble loading this footage up. I just ain't got the computer skills to do it. So I'm just gonna keep tinkering and keep hammering, and hopefully it'll load up at some point. But tell me what you think about the Pickett's Mill historic site. What do you think about all those old field nurse utensils and things, and from them medical kits, the flag signalers, and that old road, the old cabin that you can go see? I just found that all just absolutely just fascinating. So, well, tell me what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. Till next time, tune in for part 2. Y'all take care now. Have a good one. Bye.